Tonight, our debate focuses on Ward 3. For those of you who may not be familiar with the boundaries or features of Ward 3, let's turn our attention to the video monitor.
Ward 3 is the midtown part of Riverside. Developed after World War II, it runs from east to west with Central Avenue as its connecting spine. At its easterly end is the area around Poly High School, including a segment of historic Victoria Avenue. Near its center is the newly redeveloped Plaza Shopping District with its movie theaters, restaurants, and retail stores. At its western end, the Riverside Municipal Airport and the industrial park just north of it are bounded by the Santa Ana River.
We are very fortunate tonight to have as our moderator Erin O'Toole from the Inland Empire Zone public broadcast station, KVCR, where she's been a producer and on-air host since 2003. Many of you are familiar with Erin from her Morning Edition show, which includes a local broadcast of National Public Radio. Thank you, Erin, for agreeing to moderate this year's Raincross debates. And now let me turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ted. It's definitely a pleasure to be here. Much of our programming at KVCR is aimed at doing exactly what we're hoping to accomplish here tonight, and that is to provide you, the citizens of this region, with both information and insight on the issues that affect your lives. It's said that all politics are local, and if that is true, then perhaps this debate and the 3 others sponsored by Raincross can help you, the voters, decide who should be entrusted with the reins of government in Riverside. I'd like to begin tonight by introducing our distinguished panel of questioners. We are pleased that our partner in these debates, the Riverside Press Enterprise and its sister publication, La Prensa, are both represented on the panel. First, from the Press Enterprise is its editorial page editor, Gail Hammonds, who directs the opinion team at the newspaper and is responsible for the content of the daily and Sunday opinion sections. Next is Orlando Ramirez, who is editor of the Spanish-language newspaper La Prensa, a post he's held for 3 years. Previous to this, he served on the Press Enterprise editorial board. And our third panel member for the Ward 3 debate is Woody Rucker-Hughes, who is a child welfare and attendance manager with the Riverside Unified School District. She's also very active in the local and state level organizations of the NAACP. Welcome to all of you. And now I'd like to turn our attention to the candidates themselves. As we said earlier tonight, we are featuring the race in Ward 3. In the general election for this ward held earlier this year, no candidate received the requisite 50% plus 1 of the votes cast. Consequently, the 2 top vote getters are now facing each other in a runoff election. These candidates are, first, the incumbent in Ward 3, Art Gage, who's finishing his first term as a city council member. Mr. Gage has also served on the Riverside Public Utilities Board and the Riverside Planning Commission. He's been a businessman in Riverside for the past 29 years. Also running for the Ward 3 seat is Rusty Bailey. He is currently a teacher, student body moderator, and coach at Poly High School, and serves on the city's Cultural Heritage Board. Mr. Bailey is a graduate of West Point and earned a master's degree from UCLA. Thanks to both of you for agreeing to participate in the Raincross debates. All right, now, as in all debates, we have a few housekeeping matters to cover. We'll begin in just a moment with the candidates' 2-minute introductory statements. Afterwards, for the panelist questions, each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond, and then each will be accorded 30 seconds to offer a rebuttal or amplification of his or her previous remarks. Now, as moderator, it's within my purview to invite a panelist to follow up on a question or to ask a candidate to focus their answer more closely on the question that was asked. And as you've doubtless heard moderators say at other televised debates, we respectfully ask our audience members to restrain their applause for either of the candidates. You'll only be reducing the time available to them for answering the panel's questions. All right? And with that, I would like to ask Mr. Art Gage to begin with the opening statements.
Thank you, Erin. This election is just a continuation, as far as I'm concerned, of what I set out to do 4 years ago. I was disgusted, quite frankly, with what was going on in the city. There had been no action at all throughout the city. No roads, transportation was bad, public safety was under a consent decree, Riverside had the wheels come off. Since that time, I've decided that it is time for action, and it has been a time of action. When I was elected, the grade crossings through my ward were 7. And at this point, we have Harupa underway for construction in order to allow people to get across there. It was dead in the water. We were about ready to lose the funding. Magnolia Avenue is ranked number 43rd or 46th on the list in the county of grade crossings should be done. I was able to work with the different people throughout the organizations throughout Riverside County to move that up to number 1. It is now underway. We are acquiring that property. That grade crossing will open up sometime in 2010, hopefully early 2010. Last week we received the funding to do Riverside Avenue and Streeter. The engineering is underway on both of those. So within the next few years, 4 grade crossings will be done. We've closed one at Mountain View, which was creating some problems for a lot of different reasons. But we have started to move forward with the key element of transportation in the 3rd Ward, and with a flourish. Parks are now finally being built and fixed. Andalka sat vacant for 30 years. It's under construction. Every other park in the ward is either redone or being fixed up, and we have to do that. We have to recognize that Little League, girls softball need a place to play. The kids have to have some place to go. They haven't had it. We have gone from about 1.5 acres per citizen or per 1,000 of parkland to somewhere around 2 now. So we've increased significantly in a very short period of time. Streets are being fixed. They're being beautified. One of the key things that I promised was to communicate with the citizens of Riverside. I have opened up a field office. I did that earlier this year, so it's much more friendly for people to come and talk to their council members. That comes out of my own pocket. As I promised, I have walked the ward. Time's up?
10 seconds.
Okay. I've walked the wards before I got elected the first time, and I've continued to do it. It's the only way to really know what the people are thinking and what they need. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rusty Bailey.
First off, I'd like to thank my wife, who's here tonight, for putting up with me these last 9 months. Appreciate that, Judy. I'd also like to thank the makeup artist, who has made me feel like I'm running for president here today. And thank you all for coming out. I'm humbled by the support I've been given these last few months. At 49.1%, almost getting to 50% in my first political foray, I very much appreciate your support here tonight and out there in the audience. My calling in life is to serve people. I've been a public servant my entire career, following my father, a judge, and grandfather, a school district administrator here in Riverside. As a 4th-generation Riversider, I've seen changes that have kept Riverside from reaching its potential, as well as changes that have benefited our quality of life. It's an exciting time for Riverside. The city of Riverside is the hub of the most dynamic and fastest growing region in the state. Ward 3, along with our neighboring wards and other municipalities, faces interrelated challenges and opportunities. Only by working regionally can we realize future economic growth, address air quality concerns, fund transportation needs, and create opportunities for future generations. My leadership experience and team building skills are the difference in this race. I was born and raised in Riverside, left for an education at West Point, served as an Army helicopter pilot, and obtained a master's degree in public policy at UCLA. I gained practical policy experience at the Department of Housing and Urban Development and in the Executive Office of the President working on the National Drug Control Strategy. I then moved back to Riverside to serve the community that raised me, working as a legislative aide to Supervisor John Tavallone and as a development specialist at Riverside County's Economic Development Agency. Currently, I'm a social studies teacher, Young Life volunteer, and student government advisor at Pauley High School. My experience in community service as a member of the Cultural Heritage Board, the Charter Review Committee, and as an advisor and trainer on the Riverside Youth Court will benefit the city as we implement the Renaissance vision. This experience locally, regionally, and nationally has provided me with the ability to build and lead teams. These skills are what have attracted a majority of the county supervisors, the mayor of Riverside, and a majority of the city council to endorse my candidacy to represent Ward 3.
Okay, thanks very much. How about a round of applause for our candidates before we get started? Thanks.